The Secret Service is under fire once again, not gunfire, but fallout from another embarrassing debacle. This week, two Secret Service agents drove their government car right through a bomb investigation and then into the White House security barriers. The agents were on their way home from a night of partying. Instead of taking a sobriety test, their commander sent them home. The agents are senior supervisors in the Washington field office and include the second in command on President Obama's detail, Mark Connolly. And this is not a great first month on the job for new Secret Service Director Joseph Clancy. He was brought in to clean up after some high-profile security breaches and a Secret Service prostitution scandal that you might remember that happened during a 2012 presidential trip to Colombia. For perspective, we turn to Dan Bongino, former New York City police officer, former Secret Service agent as well. Is this unusual behavior for the Secret Service, in that sense unusually bad, or is it simply unusual because we now know that agents are participating in this kind of stuff?
Yeah, that's the operative question. These are black swan events. They don't happen often. When they do happen, in the past we didn't have social media, there wasn't a 24-hour news cycle, and there wasn't a laser-like focus on the Secret Service, which we see now because of the scandals in the past couple of years. So they're not more prevalent, these incidents. It's just the public is hearing about them, and it seems a lot worse. I'm not trying to diminish the gravity of them. I'm just saying that you're just hearing about them now. Any organization is going to have problems, and the Secret Service is certainly not immune to that.
Clearly not, as we've seen, despite their venerable reputation. As you look at the embarrassment factor here, the embarrassment factor is high, but so far we really haven't seen anything that put the president's life at risk, that put his family's life at risk in any serious way. I guess the question would be, is that where the culture of the Secret Service is heading, or are there a lot of folks in the Secret Service who say, hey, look, things happen, we have these kinds of incidences, some folks obviously go off the reservation, but in the end, our mission is still the same, and so far we've done a good job?
Yeah, operationally, when you look at this from the umbrella view, the Secret Service conducts thousands of protective advances, sites, everything from airports to hotels to my last foreign advance was in an active war zone in Afghanistan. Ironically, on that trip was one of the agents involved in the incident who did an amazing job. He got me out of a couple close calls in Afghanistan. And I think he was one of the better supervisors we had on the detail. So when looked at again in totality, the Secret Service gets the president out of most of these sites without so much as a hangnail. But we do have to keep in mind in this era again of social media and 24-hour news that these lapses in personal behavior, even if they have no operational consequence, which luckily this didn't, are going to be covered, and that's the new world, and we have to be aware of that, and everybody has to be very laser focused on their own personal behavior and its impact on the morale in the agency.
Well, so Dan, when you look at this, so much of these issues go to simple judgment. In this case, possibly drunk driving. In Cartagena, frequenting prostitutes and then bringing them back to your hotel room. We can continue to go down the list of bad choices, we might say. The question I think, though, here is there a cultural problem within the Secret Service? Is it simply that we all in the public may simply have a little bit too high of a standard that we're holding these agents to? What's the issue here?
No, I think the public standards are perfectly adequate. Listen, this is a solemn responsibility. This president, this family, the president, the first family, they don't get hurt on our watch, no matter what. The public should expect excellence, and I don't think the Secret Service would request otherwise. Matter of fact, the agents, I know both of these agents. They're not excuse makers. I know who they are. They're probably sitting there right now saying this was a really, really dumb decision. Their quality of work has been exceptional through the years. That's how they got promoted through the ranks. This was a big mistake.
Clearly a mistake. They've evidently been reassigned, we've heard, and obviously the head of the Secret Service is heading up to Capitol Hill on Tuesday to answer what I've been told is going to be some very, very tough questions. Dan Bongino, we really appreciate your insight and analysis, sir, and your service as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Leonard.
Thanks, Dan.